Here is my setup right now. These batteries were purchased from Jehu off of his YouTube channel. They are together 240 amp hours. However, I have seen up to 250 amp hours on them, and still at 10 to 11%. So I know they have more amp hours than that. There are 4 cables connecting to it. There's 2 to the inverter over there to the right, and then there's 2 to the charge controller. And we'll go up to the charge controller. Okay, so you can see my cable from my solar panels. It's 1800 watts or 1.8 watts coming in off of Renogy solar panels. I go to a little breaker. It's an X Scorpion breaker. I don't have any trouble with that one. I come to an Outback FlexMax 80, which is 80 amp. Like today I produced 9.1 kilowatts. On a good day I can produce up to 11, sometimes 12. I come down, I had it on that breaker there, but that one kept popping. It kept kicking off, so I put this fuse style one in, and I don't have no trouble anymore. So now we'll move back down to the desk and talk about the BMV 712. Okay, so this is the Victron BMV 712. I chose this for monitoring my solar and battery levels because, one, it has Bluetooth, so when I'm inside the house I use the Bluetooth app on my iPhone and I get these readings on the app. So you can scroll through here and see I got 19 amps out, 530, 512 watts. I've got total 73 amp hours used. I'm at 68.6%. Now, after I go to bed, this amp out will drop down to about 6 amps out total for the night, and then I will continue to run until morning. I start getting positive readings about 9 a.m., but it starts charging about 7:30ish. So, but I don't get to the positive side until then, about 9. So on the back side of this is a USB cable output. So not only can I monitor it using Bluetooth here on site, but that USB cable plugs into this little PC unit. This is an Intel PC stick. So I usually have a TV here on my desk, but my son is borrowing my TV, imagine that. So what it does is it connects to that, and we will go to the iPhone recording. So here you can see the Victron's remote access to the PC side of it. So you can use any computer, laptop, desktop, but it has to be within, I think it's 3-foot cable to connect to it. So I kind of have an office downstairs, but instead I just purchased this PC stick. I think it cost me like $80 or $100, and it just made it easier. Here you can see how it is normally set up with the TV on the desk, and it's usually pretty clean down here, but here lately I haven't had a chance to clean it. I've been kind of in and out of the office doing stuff. Here you can see the actual Bluetooth application. It looks pretty much the same thing as the computer application, except when I'm at home I can connect to the Bluetooth. Alright, so we're back down here. You can see I have the shunt in between the battery and the solar cable and the inverter. So that way I can measure solar in, battery in, solar in, battery out, and it's measuring all the amperage to the inverter as it uses it. So I can monitor the battery levels, the Victron usage, or the inverter usage. So that kind of gives me all the information I need. So you find those like Outback Mate 3. I don't need those, I don't need all that data. I just need to be able to see what my battery levels are. But I made this system pretty automatic. I don't have to monitor it. It pretty much monitors itself with that Victron. So on the back of that Victron, you can see here I got some cables that are connected to the relay. That relay actually, those relay wires come over here to this it's a 110 volt output. What it does is it relays and tells that outlet to open up, and this outlet is connected to the grid. You can see it here. So basically, if the battery gets down to 20%, it turns that outlet on, and therefore the inverter auto transfers the load from the batteries to the grid. And then on top of that, it actually charges the battery. I have it at the lowest charge voltage, so it only charges about 9 amps at 24 or 25 volts, depending on the battery level. So it's real minor. And then I have a maximum at 25 volts. That way I'm not wasting grid power, because typically if I run out or get low, it's on cloudy days or in the early morning just before the sun rises. Sometimes the batteries will be low then, especially during the winter. So it will go on grid for a little while, and then once the sun peaks, it will take back over. So I have a Wemo Insight connected to that outlet, and what it does is it gives me a spreadsheet every day of how much grid power I have to use to continue to cycle this. So it tells me how much more I'm spending to charge the batteries or keep the system from dying. It just kind of gives me some numbers, and I kind of like those numbers, but it's not a big deal. So here is the 30 amps that are coming off of it with the 110 volt or 120 volt, whatever you want to call it. And what that does is that line actually goes up the ceiling, and it goes over to my breaker box, where I put in a 10 circuit transfer box. It's just a generator transfer box, a manual transfer box is what they're called. And typically you find people put those in for generators, but instead of plugging in a generator, what I did is I plugged in my solar to it. So there are 10 circuits I'm running. I am running all the circuits upstairs except 220. I only have 10 circuits upstairs. So everything upstairs runs off of solar. Everything downstairs, we don't come down here much, but it's not running off solar. So I don't have to worry about any of that. The oven is not running off of it, which is 220. The dryer is not running off of it. And the compressor to the AC unit outside is not running off of it. However, I am running a portable roll-around AC unit that I have connected. I have a lot of Internet of Things, so it's connected to a Belkin Wemo Wi-Fi controlled outlet. And I actually use IFTTT to monitor the thermostat temperature. So instead of my central AC kicking on, which takes 4,000 watts an hour, my portable AC unit kicks on, which only uses 1,000 watts an hour. However, it's running from the solar unit. So in the end, I'm saving a ton of electricity because of that. Some days I only use 1, maybe 2 kilowatts. On hot days, I might use 4 or 5 kilowatts just to run the central AC fan, like just to kick it on and push it to the other rooms. Because with the central AC versus the portable one, only one living room's getting air conditioning. So I have to push that cold air to the other rooms. I think that covers everything. If you got any questions, just feel free to write.